Wait, why is the teacher handing the trophy to Lila for Ethan's project when Marina isn't even denying it? And what message did Daniel send that suddenly made everyone panic?
That's my son's project. My voice came out sharper than I expected because the teacher was already handing the trophy to someone else. We were standing in the middle of the school science fair, surrounded by parents and students clapping, while my cousin's daughter, Lila, smiled on stage holding a project I had watched my son Ethan build for weeks. Every detail was his, the wiring, the design, even the tiny mistake he refused to fix. And yet, my cousin Marina sat in the front row like this was completely normal. When I confronted her, she didn't even deny it. "She deserves it more," she said. My aunt nodded right beside her. Before I could respond, the teacher cut in, calm, dismissive. "If there's a concern, we can discuss it later. The results are final." And just like that, Ethan's work wasn't his anymore. That's when my husband pulled out his phone, sent one message, and quietly said, "You might want to fix this before tonight." For a moment, no one reacted. Before we continue with this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for updates. The applause faded into an uncomfortable silence around us, but the damage had already been done. Lila was still standing at the front, clutching the trophy with both hands, smiling for pictures like she had earned every second of it. Ethan didn't move. He stood right next to me, staring at the stage, his shoulders stiff, his hands clenched so tightly I could see his knuckles turning white. I leaned down slightly, trying to catch his eye. "Ethan," I whispered.
He didn't look at me.
"That's mine," he said quietly, like he was still trying to convince himself. And the worst part? He wasn't even angry yet.
He was confused.
That confusion hit harder than anything else. I looked back at Marina. She wasn't avoiding eye contact. She wasn't nervous. If anything, she looked relieved, like something had finally gone her way. "How did you even get it?" I asked, lowering my voice, but not my tone. She shrugged, completely unfazed. "You left it out the other day. Lila just got inspired." "Inspired?" I repeated, disbelief creeping in. "It's identical." My aunt stepped closer before Marina could answer. "Sarah, don't make a scene," she said, her voice sharp but controlled. "It's a school project, not the end of the world." Not the end of the world. I almost laughed. Ethan had spent 3 weeks on that project. 3 weeks of late nights at the dining table, testing circuits, rewriting notes, starting over when things didn't work. I had videos on my phone, him explaining every part like it mattered. Because to him it did. And now he was standing here, watching someone else be rewarded for it, while being told it wasn't a big deal. Around us, other parents had started whispering. A few were glancing between us and the stage, clearly sensing something was off, but no one stepped in. The teacher had already moved on, congratulating the next group. It was over, at least for them. I turned to Daniel. He hadn't said a word this entire time. He wasn't looking at Marina. He wasn't looking at the teacher. He was watching his phone, waiting. "What did you just do?" I asked under my breath. He didn't answer immediately. His expression stayed calm, almost too calm for what was happening. Then, finally, he slipped the phone back into his pocket and looked straight at Marina. "You'll see," he said quietly. At first, she didn't react. Then, her phone buzzed. She glanced down at the screen, and whatever she read wiped the confidence off her face instantly.
Her posture changed.
Her grip on her bag tightened. And, for the first time since this started, Marina looked worried.
Wait, why does one phone buzz make Marina panic and walk up like she already knew she would get exposed before anything was shown?
The moment Marina saw that message, she turned away from the crowd. Not casually, not slowly, quickly, like she didn't want anyone to notice. I saw it immediately. "Ethan, stay close to me," I said softly, but he was still locked in place, eyes fixed on Lila standing on the stage like she had done something real. Around us, the science fair was starting to move on. The teacher was already calling the next group. Applause rose again, as if what just happened didn't matter anymore. But it did. And Marina knew it. I watched her step aside near the hallway entrance, whispering urgently to Lila. My aunt followed right behind her, suddenly less confident, scanning the room like she was trying to figure out if anyone else had noticed something wrong. That's when Ethan finally spoke again. "Mom, why did they say it was hers?" His voice wasn't angry. It was small, careful, like he was trying not to break something inside himself. I didn't answer right away, because I didn't have a clean answer. Instead, I looked back at Marina. She was now pacing slightly, phone pressed to her ear, her expression tightening with every second. Something about that message had shaken her more than she wanted to show. "What did Dad send?" I murmured. Daniel didn't look up. "Nothing that isn't already true." That didn't help. The school coordinator walked past us at that moment, clipboard in hand, smiling like everything was normal. That smile faded slightly when she noticed Marina in the hallway, clearly distressed now. Something was shifting. Not loud, not obvious, but real. Ethan pulled lightly on my sleeve. "Can we just go home?" I wanted to say yes. But then I saw Marina come back into view, except she wasn't alone anymore. The teacher was with her, and both of them looked uncertain. Marina's voice carried just enough for me to hear the words that changed everything. This wasn't supposed to happen yet. I froze. The teacher stopped walking. And suddenly, the entire room didn't feel like a school event anymore. It felt like something had just gone wrong in a way nobody was ready to explain. Ethan noticed my expression and followed my gaze. "Mom, what does she mean?" he asked. Before I could answer, the coordinator's voice cut through the hallway, sharp and controlled. "Mrs. Marina, we need to talk. Right now." Marina didn't move. And that's when I realized this wasn't confusion anymore. It was damage control. And whatever Daniel had sent had already started something none of them could stop. Marina didn't go with the coordinator right away. She hesitated. Just long enough for everyone to notice. Long enough for the hallway noise to fade into something uncomfortable. Then she forced a smile, too tight, too unnatural, and followed them down the corridor. My aunt tried to act like nothing was happening, but she kept glancing after them like she was trying to decide whether to intervene or disappear. Ethan stayed close to me now, his earlier confusion shifting into something heavier. "Mom, why does she look scared?" he asked quietly. I didn't answer immediately because I was watching Daniel again. He had finally put his phone away. And for the first time since this started, he was standing instead of leaning back like he was ready for what came next. "What exactly did you send?" I asked again. This time, he exhaled. "I didn't accuse her," he said. "I just showed proof exists." "Proof of what?" I pressed. He didn't answer directly. Instead, he said, "The school requires digital submission logs for every science project." Ethan followed that system exactly. I felt my stomach tighten, because I remembered. Every step Ethan took, he uploaded it. Drafts, photos, test runs. I had seen him do it late at night, insisting the teacher wanted everything documented. But I hadn't thought much of it then. Now I realized Daniel had. A sudden commotion came from the hallway. Raised voices. The coordinator's tone had changed completely, no longer polite. "Mrs. Marina, this submission does not match the recorded build history." Silence followed. Then Marina's voice, sharper now. "That doesn't prove anything. Kids borrow ideas all the time." But then, a second voice cut in. "Lila."
Confused. Small.
"Mom."
I didn't build it like that.
The words landed wrong. Too honest. Too late. I felt Ethan tense beside me. "See," I whispered, not even realizing I said it out loud. But Daniel wasn't finished. He looked toward the hallway and said calmly, "They haven't seen the original video yet." At that exact moment, the coordinator walked back into view.
Her face was different now.
Not confused. Not uncertain. Concerned. And behind her, Marina followed, but she wasn't speaking anymore. She was just holding her phone, staring at it like it had turned against her. The coordinator stopped in front of us and said, "We need all parties in the review room.
Now."
Then she looked directly at me. "And Mrs. Sarah, your husband's evidence is only the beginning." Ethan squeezed my hand. "Mom," he whispered. And for the first time, I realized this wasn't about a stolen project anymore. It was about what had actually been recorded, and why Marina had tried so hard to take it in the first place. The review room felt smaller than it should have. No decorations, no warmth, just a long table, a projector, and too many adults trying to pretend this was still a simple misunderstanding. Marina sat on one side, rigid now, Lila next to her, staring at her lap. My aunt stood behind them like she didn't want to be associated, but also didn't want to leave. Ethan stayed close to me. Daniel sat down without rushing, already opening his laptop. The coordinator broke the silence first. Before we proceed, we need clarity on ownership of the project. Marina spoke immediately. It's just a school project. There's no ownership issue. It was inspired work. But her voice didn't land the same way anymore. Because now, the room wasn't reacting to her confidence. It was waiting for proof. Daniel turned the laptop toward the projector. The screen lit up. First video. Ethan building the base structure. Timestamp clearly visible. Second. Wiring the internal system step by step. Third. Him explaining the exact mechanism aloud, his voice, his words. I heard Ethan inhale sharply beside me. He wasn't just watching. He was seeing himself erased and rebuilt in front of strangers. Then Daniel clicked another file. A new video. This one was different. It showed Marina in our living room, standing over the project, slowly turning it, taking pictures, not casually, deliberately. The room shifted. The coordinator leaned forward. Was she given permission to document this? Silence. Then Marina finally spoke, lower now. I was just helping Lila understand science. But Daniel wasn't done. He zoomed in on the timestamp metadata. The recording starts 3 minutes after she asked Ethan to go get water. That detail hit harder than anything before it, because it wasn't accidental. It was planned. Lila suddenly looked up. Mom, you said it was okay, because it was just ideas. Her voice cracked. Marina flinched. And for the first time, her control slipped. The coordinator stood slowly. This is no longer a misunderstanding. A pause. This is academic misconduct. My aunt finally reacted. No, this is a family issue. But the coordinator cut her off. It became a school issue the moment the work was submitted as someone else's. Marina's breathing changed. Faster now. Unsteady. Daniel clicked one last file, but didn't open it yet. He looked at her and said quietly, "Do you want me to play the rest?" Marina didn't answer, because she already knew what was coming. Ethan squeezed my hand tighter. "Mom," he whispered again. But I couldn't look at him, because I was watching Marina realize something terrifying, that she hadn't just been caught. She had been recorded from the beginning. And whatever Daniel was about to play next would decide everything. Daniel didn't press play immediately. He let the silence stretch, long enough for everyone in the room to feel it. Then he said, almost calmly, "This last file answers the only question that still matters. Who actually built it?" He clicked. The video opened, and the room went completely still. It showed Ethan, weeks earlier, testing the final version of the project. But this time, the camera angle shifted slightly, revealing something no one expected. Marina was there, watching, asking questions. Not general ones, specific ones. About wiring paths, voltage flow, design structure. Questions that only someone trying to replicate the project would ask. Ethan's voice could be heard in the video, patient at first, explaining everything like he was proud someone cared. Then Marina stepped closer in the recording. And subtly she began filming. Not the project. Him explaining it. The coordinator's face changed instantly. "This wasn't just observation," she said slowly. Daniel nodded. She wasn't learning. She was extracting. The room shifted again. Lila's head snapped up. "What does that mean?" she asked. But no one answered her immediately, because Marina finally broke. "I didn't want her to fail again," she said quickly, voice cracking now. "Ethan is naturally good at this. Lila works harder. I just thought." "You thought stealing would fix that?" I interrupted. My voice wasn't loud, but it landed. Silence followed. The coordinator closed the folder in front of her. "This is no longer about a competition," she said. It is about falsified authorship and intentional deception. My aunt tried one last time. We can resolve this privately. No, the coordinator said firmly. This is already documented officially. That was the moment everything shifted. Marina realized it too late. Her posture collapsed slightly as she looked at Lila. And Lila, confused, tearful, finally understood enough to whisper. So, I didn't actually win? That question broke something in the room. Ethan looked at her then. Not angry, not satisfied, just quiet. I did, he said softly. No one argued. Because now there was nothing left to argue. The coordinator turned to us. The award will be reassigned immediately, and a formal report will be filed regarding misconduct and submission fraud. Marina stood up abruptly, but there was nowhere for her confidence to go anymore. She looked at me, then Daniel, then Ethan, and for the first time since this began, she didn't have a defense, only consequences. Outside the room, we could already hear voices spreading the news through the school. Whispers.
Shock.
Reactions forming in real time. As we stepped out, Ethan held the trophy they had taken back from the display table. He didn't smile yet, not fully, but he held it tighter than before. And as we walked toward the exit, Daniel said quietly, "Some things don't get taken back with apologies." I looked at Ethan. He finally exhaled, not because everything felt good, but because it was finally true again. And behind us, I heard Marina's voice one last time, not angry anymore, just small. Please don't tell everyone. But by then, it was already too late.
And if a school can quietly change a winner with one message, how many other projects have already been rewritten without anyone noticing? And who is deciding it before we ever see it?